Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. Check out our latest Long Talk episode where we discuss how Ukrainian state functions during the war. My name is Artem and here is the news. 690 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. According to the media sources in the Ukrainian army, the Ukrainian military managed to shoot down a Russian A-50 aircraft over the Sea of Azov and damage an Il-22 yesterday evening, reports RBK Ukraine. Another media Militarny reports that the means of downing of the aircraft are unknown. It could be surface-to-air, air-to-air missiles, anti-radar missiles, or a breakdown. One of the likely options is friendly fire. The loss of such aircraft is a heavy blow to the Russian Air Force, and the Russian military-industrial complex cannot compensate for this loss. The Il-22 operated as an air command post, and A-50 is a long-range radar detection and control aircraft. Russia had only up to 9 of the A-50 left from Soviet times. The aircraft is capable of reconnaissance of air, ground, and surface targets, provide external targeting to fighters, and act as an air command post. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, in his evening video address, informed that yesterday a new meeting of advisors to the heads of state on the peace formula was taking place in Switzerland. This was the fourth such meeting, and this time it united more than 80 states and international organizations. According to the European Pravda, China again did not take part in the meeting as before in Malta. Chinese representatives participated only in one such meeting that took place in Saudi Arabia in August 2023. The media informed based on sources that Davos was deliberately chosen as a venue for the meeting on the peace formula so that it would take place in a city where representatives of China are already present. The World Economic Forum is currently held in Davos. However, Beijing refused to participate. Zelensky said that yesterday's meeting in Switzerland furthers the work that took place during the meeting in Malta, Saudi Arabia, and Denmark. In Malta, participants discussed the first 5 points of the peace formula: radiation and nuclear safety, food safety, energy security, release of prisoners and deported persons, restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity. At this meeting, other 5 were presented: withdrawal of Russian troops and cessation of hostilities, restoration of justice, ecological safety, preventing escalation and repetition of aggression, confirmation of the end of the war. Head of Ukraine's President's Office Andriy Yermak, speaking in Davos, stressed that the current government of Ukraine will not agree to freeze the war and will keep the course for further liberation of the occupied territories of Ukraine, reports Radio Liberty. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, and leave a glowing review in the apps where you are listening to this podcast: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The PepsiCo company forbade all mentions of the Russian war in Ukraine in its advertisement and PR materials, reports Novinarnya. According to the Global Coalition of Public Organizations B4 Ukraine, in the autumn of 2023, during the search for a new PR agency in Ukraine, requirements were set according to which references to the war in PepsiCo's advertising activities were prohibited. Namely, mention of war, hostilities, aggression, military personnel, armed forces, support for Ukraine or the Ukrainian army, negative connotations which creates a feeling of danger. At the same time, PepsiCo still operates in the Russian market and pays taxes. According to Ukraine, PepsiCo paid $115 million in taxes to the Russian budget. Even despite the formal termination of the sale of the main product of the company, Pepsi Cola, it is still possible to purchase this product on Russian shelves thanks to the so-called parallel import. On 21 September 2023, fragments of a downed Russian missile hit the territory of the PepsiCo plant and warehouse in the city of Vishneva, Kyiv region. The warehouse was partially destroyed. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.